There is going to be a big distress that is going to come into Asia. A big disease, distress of disease is coming. The Lord took me into a hospital. There's a very big distress there. You see a lot of people swarming into the hospital. I see the lack of equipment now. There is no equipment. The doctors are running up and down, and many people flooding into the hospital. And I see a lot of people rushing into the hospital, being rushed. There's the procedure being done on somebody, and then there is testing. So somebody told me, well, he makes one of the doctors there to speak with me, and he says, we don't have equipment. What we do, we take this, and we take a little and put on the culture to see. So there is going to be a big distress that is going to come into Asia. A big disease, distress of disease is coming, a disease emergency in Asia.
CNN Breaking News.
Officials in China are dealing with a major health crisis at the worst possible time of year. With at least 7 major cities under a travel ban, officials have suspended public transport, outgoing flights have been cancelled and train services shut down, leaving more than 20 million people going nowhere.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Countries and companies around the world are focused on COVID-19 tonight as new cases emerge. More than 50 countries have confirmed cases of the new coronavirus now, and the World Health Organization has raised its alert to the highest level. In Iran, there are reports from hospitals of a big spike in deaths, more than 200. That is 6 times higher than the official death toll from the Iranian Health Ministry. Many believe it's downplaying what's really going on. Mass disinfection is underway at mosques and on public transit. Schools are closed for 3 days, and many flights to and from Iran have been canceled. The World Health Organization now admits we are on the precipice of a pandemic.
This is a reality check for every government on the planet. Wake up, get ready. This virus may be on its way and you need to be ready. You have a duty to your citizens, you have a duty to the world to be ready.
The World Health Organization says the risk of the virus expanding worldwide is now classified as very high. And there are new cases of the disease here in the United States. 16 cases so far have been detected and confirmed in the U.S. Another 47 people were evacuated from the Diamond Princess cruise ship and from the region in China where the coronavirus originated, for a total of 63 patients.
A second straight day, we can tell you the virus has spread faster outside China than within that country. There are hundreds of new cases reported throughout the rest of the world. So here is the updated map. There are 50 countries and regions now affected. And as you can see, there's COVID-19 cases reported in every continent except Antarctica. Denmark, Norway, Estonia, North Macedonia, Romania, Georgia, Pakistan have all reported their first cases in the last 24 hours. South Korea remains the country with the most infections outside China. It had a surge in around 500 new cases, so its total has risen to more than 1,700, the country reporting a 13th death today.
To our viewers in the West, and we begin with growing fears that the coronavirus outbreak could become a global pandemic. Today, the World Health Organization raised its risk alert to very high and questioned whether hospitals were ready for this public health emergency. Wall Street had another sell-off, the Dow closing down more than 350 points today and more than 3,500 for the week. That's a drop of more than 12%.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average was clobbered for a 7th straight day. The key stock index lost 3,500 points this week, wiping out more than $3 trillion worth of value.
This has happened fast and furious.
and there's way more unknowns than there are known.
The travel industry could suffer as well, losing potentially more than $46 billion a month, as United Airlines announced it's suspending service to major hubs in Asia. Americans are canceling more trips, while travel insurance demand jumped 60%.
The coronavirus outbreak blamed for killing more than 2,600 people is now having its most acute impact on financial markets around the world. We expect more turmoil today after coronavirus fears sent the Dow Jones Industrial Average down almost 1,200 points. Now, that is the biggest one-day point drop ever. The Dow has lost more than 2,600 points since Monday, about 10% of its value.
The worldwide coronavirus outbreak has topped 82,000 cases in at least 52 countries. California has quarantined more Americans over what's suspected to be the first U.S. case with unknown origin.
To date, more than 83,000 cases have been reported worldwide, the vast majority in China. Cases have been confirmed in 53 nations. The virus is blamed for more than 2,800 deaths so far since it was first reported late last year. This morning, the State Department is urging Americans to reconsider travel to Italy, where there are more cases than anywhere outside Asia.
As efforts to contain the virus continue around the world, an investigation by BBC Persian suggests the number of coronavirus deaths in Iran could be more than 200, way above the official figures. State television there has confirmed 295 new cases in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, health officials on the west coast of the United States say there are 3 unexplained cases there. Rich Preston reports.
The number of countries reporting new incidents of COVID-19 continues to rise. New Zealand, Lithuania and Iceland are amongst the latest to confirm their first cases. The World Health Organization has upgraded the global risk of the virus to its highest possible level. At least 210 people are reported to have died in Iran. As authorities there try to get control of the situation, Friday prayers were cancelled for the first time in 40 years. Worldwide, there have been more than 2,500 deaths from this strain of coronavirus.
And in Iran, where there have been close to 100 cases and the death toll is 15. The outbreak is centred around the city of Qom, close to Tehran, and this man, the deputy health minister, became involved in a political row. Yesterday he said he'd resign if allegations that the government was hiding the true death toll in Qom were true. Well, now he's become part of the story because he's got the virus, and he was involved in the most extraordinary press conference. Here he is, on the left, taking his glasses off, mopping his brow, looking decidedly unwell. He was telling those who had gathered that he doesn't believe in quarantine, that it's an old measure from World War I that doesn't work.
Italy continues to be Europe's biggest cause for concern, with more than 650 cases. Several towns in the north of the country are still on lockdown. The United Nations says each country has to do its bit.
We know containment is possible, but the window of opportunity is narrowing. And so I appeal for solidarity and full global support, but with all countries fully assuming their responsibilities.
Empty planes and empty terminals.
Where are you from? Oh, Australia. We flew from London.
As Italy races to contain the outbreak. Across the north of the country, 50,000 people are in lockdown.
I'm trying to get home, to jump back home, because my babies, my children are sick.
A red zone is being enforced around 11 northern towns. Only those doing critical work or delivering vital supplies are allowed in. Very few are allowed out.
In practice, at the moment, no one is authorised to leave.
For a while, it seemed like the ambulances were the only vehicles passing through, on their way to Lombardy's red zone and all the area's towns under quarantine. Just a few kilometers from the center of Italy's coronavirus outbreak, the security personnel often outnumbered the cars on the road. It was just a short while later that the threat level was indeed reassessed and the boundary enlarged.
The sense of alarm here is only growing. We've seen many ambulances go in and out of the quarantined area these past few hours, and in the last 30 minutes, we've had to move about a kilometer down the road after authorities decided to expand the red zone.
Bedford is tracking the virus's genetic code. It changes slightly when the virus passes from person to person. The data is so detailed, it traces right back to when patient 0 became sick.
And then starts this kind of epidemic fire in which one person's infecting another person, and then that has since grown to be this large epidemic that we see today.
Scientists calculate each person infected with the virus is infecting about 2 to 3 others. At times, this outbreak was doubling in size every 6 days. That large epidemic is happening in Hubei, China. The capital, Wuhan, is a bustling city of 11 million people.
It came without warning, and it spreads like wildfire. But until today, its origins remain a mystery.
The 2019 novel coronavirus is very unusual because it seems to spread much easier between both of us, between individuals.
Since it was first discovered in Wuhan, the capital city of China's Hubei province, late last year, the virus has killed more than 1,200 people and infected at least 45,000 others worldwide.
For every single person who is affected, it seems as if there's going to be up to 3 or maybe 4 other persons who could also be affected.
Coronavirus, or now more appropriately, it's called SARS-CoV-2. That's the name of the virus that's responsible for the COVID-19 outbreak. Wuhan, China is the epicenter of this epidemic, but some experts like Dr. Anthony Fauci of formerly the CDC, now NIH, is saying that we're on the verge of a pandemic.
There's going to be a big distress that is going to come into Asia, a big disease. The stress of disease is coming, a disease emergency in Asia.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We have an update on the spread of the deadly coronavirus. Now, a short time ago, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak an international public health emergency. The organization's Director General explains why they've taken this step.
The main reason for this declaration is not because of what is happening in China, but because of what is happening in other countries. Our greatest concern is the potential for the virus to spread to countries with weaker health systems and which are ill prepared to deal with it.
The World Health Organization tonight has now declared the outbreak a global health emergency after a tenfold jump in cases in just a week.